Okay. Calling the meeting to order at 4:03 p.m. We're going to do roll call. Bianca Mendoza, present. Nicole Mesquite, Victoria Findy is excused. Chelsea Bourdain,
Here and online.
Anne Marie English Nicole, here. Yes. And Ramon. Nicole, do you mind giving us a short time?
Which for the assembly, which for everybody being put together, working together, with end goal in mind being like with the kindergartners who got to walk across that stage last week. And just grateful for this circle, both online and here, and utilizing our minds to work together. I really appreciate that and respect what something that we can do. I know that we can move forward in a positive way.
And then, moving on to the agenda for mission and vision.
The mission is to prepare each student for college with enhanced knowledge of the Ojibwe language, culture, leadership, and environmental stewardship. At Endazhi-Nitaawiging, the mission is to create confident leaders grounded in their inherent identities and to ensure that they are academically, socially, and spiritually prepared to positively change the community.
Moving on to the agenda 5, agenda approval. Motion to approve the agenda for the special board meeting agenda of May 26, 2026 as presented. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion. Or second.
We have a motion by Nicole and a second by Chelsea. Motion to approve the agenda for the special board meeting agenda of May 26, 2026 as presented. Any discussion? Any more discussion? We'll call for a vote. We have a motion to approve the agenda for special board meeting agenda of May 26, 2026 as presented. We have a motion by Nicole and a second by Chelsea. Now we're calling for a vote. Anne Marie English Nicole?
Yes.
Nicole Cage?
Yes.
Bianca Mendoza?
Yes.
Chelsea Bourdain?
Yes.
Victoria Finday is excused. Motion carries 4-0. Moving on to agenda item 6, public comment. Welcome to this meeting of the school board here at Endazhi-Nitaawiging. We are extremely pleased that you have shown an interest in our school affairs by attending this meeting. The school board allows public participation at its meeting, but at the same time has the responsibility for conducting its business in an orderly fashion. We will provide the audience with an opportunity to request to speak. We request that before you speak to announce your name. Each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes unless the time limit is waived by a majority of the board members present. At a public meeting of the board, no person shall orally initiate charges or complaints against individual employees of the district or challenge instructional materials used in the district. All such charges, if presented to the board directly, shall be referred to the executive director of Endazhi-Nitaawiging for investigation and report. We would also like to remind the public that the school board is not allowed to comment on your concerns. If there are no questions, we will open the public comment section of the board meeting. Would anyone like to speak in public comment? Anyone want to speak for public comment? As there are no public comments, we will move on to agenda item number 7, new business. 7A, motion to approve the financial plan as presented.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by Chelsea. And a second by McComas. Motion to approve the financial plan as presented. We have a motion by Chelsea and second by McComas. Any discussion?
I can speak to the financial plan. It's a requirement by our authorizers to get this plan written according to a notice of probationary status under this and then it needs to go and it needs to go back to the authorizer from the period. So I didn't quite have it done, but I wanted the board to know that I wrote the plan after our started it before our what was that? Our working group session on Saturday. So if you look at the notice on the probationary status, we have to address the audit findings, severe cash flow concerns, breakdown in financial management systems, including failure to consistently and properly communicate with grant-related, also material delays and advocacy reporting to MDE and reliance on third-party reimbursement arrangements, and also insufficient school board oversight of financial operations. And then there is a list of the things that we have to address in each of these areas, required actions, they're there, that we have to do. So I just wanted to run through this with you real quick. And the first page talks about the notice of probationary status and that the financial plan has been created to address the areas of concern and to establish the sound plan that ensures financial viability for the investment insurance going forward. On the audit findings, there are 3 findings that we had. The items tested did not have adequate support required for expenditures. That was where we had a lack of receipts. We had hundreds of missing receipts, and it turned out the auditors found that we were spending state dollars and we weren't able to account for those by missing receipts, and we wanted to controls on that. The second finding was school fund used to purchase gift cards. And the third one was checks did not have 2 signatures. I got clarity on the 2 signatures. If you remember, I asked Hyde, was that on the bank checks or was that on the payment bill checks? And it was on bank checks that the school was using. So I talked about the corrective action there, that we adopted a policy to ensure all expenditures are allowable and have adequate support and approval. So we did approve that internal framework, and then I'll include that when I send it to authorizers. That was the internal framework that was approved, I think, in December or January. So we do have that, and the framework addresses purchasing procedures, segregation duties, contract review and documentation, and record retention. So, in the framework goes on to talk about that, the things that we do. Also, the second one is that it is not understood that the purchase and disbursement of gift cards are not allowable expenses and will no longer be part of EN's financial practice. For the 2 checks, the requirement of 2 signatures on checks has become a non-issue. The Endazhi-Nitaawiging Charter School will not utilize bank checks for payments to businesses, personnel, contractors, or other organizations. So that was my way to address that.
Do we have any, like, check
We
after
do.
school?
We do.
And have those been like returned or voted?
They are sitting in a lot of time right now, but, part of those ones that were written, that we need those for documentation. The cost of future, so they're in the lot.
Is there ever like a situation or something like that where you need that we should have a policy in place for? Because I'm
Here's something, like, we are gonna kind of do our internal framework that we're going out right now is December, but we've also added, some smart ER practices in our internal framework, so we need to update that, so that'll go in front of, we could add that onto that internal framework. So we could add that as we update that person.
I just want to make sure that like we're covered in case. Yeah.
Right.
There's a policy in place and then also for anything that may not happen if it's one who has that. But we should probably have a clear list. So in case anything were to come up.
Down to cash flow concerns, and I did a little history by, 2020, mid-year 2025, during December, the financial statements indicated deficiency in the amount of $169,460. School board administration then taken a hard look at the class. By January, the charter school has received multiple reminders by the operators of systems to adjust enrollment numbers and complete reporting. The reminders went unheeded. It was found that the enrollment number had not been adjusted from the prior year. School is operating on 96 student, 81 count on a 70 student, which meant that the state aid, for the school was significantly lower than necessary even to operate efficiently. So, and then it goes on, that's about the 275 recommendations. Corrective action taken. We updated the MDE website and the Iowa have been going in and approved the ADM estimator on there, which is on their plan, so she can go in and update our numbers. We did find that it was too late to get a reimbursement from that this year, but the numbers are being updated in June, and then we will start with our reimbursement in September and October. But we will start the year with that after that. So although the adjustments were made, we can make a funny ones such as, and then I went on in the third paragraph to diminish the dependency on the Red Lake Nation tribal donations. The charter school is working with the tribal treasurer and developing a plan for of billing for tribal services directly out of a third party account, so that we're not getting the bills and late notices and all of that. So and then it says in there, for example, we're looking at the foster program, IT services, facility maintenance. Some of that stuff is already just coming out like we put it down. So we'll have more of a plan, when I meet with them on exactly what they'll cover and what we do, so that we're not, so it doesn't cause some transition. The remainder of the third party bill and a lot of revenues due to the charter school, demands a charter school board resolution, which which one did we just look at? And I got it with,
That
no, about the billing regulation. And that, did we just look at it?
no.
Okay, so it's the one that was, it was approved. One second, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, it's the one that whenever you want to apply for a
This one?
Yes, there it is. This is the one. This is the form, this one is filled up from the last time, but this is the form that we use. And that we have to apply for the third party billing, and in here, and it talks about it, we have to describe what it is that we're doing, we have to name the program, how much we're asking for, all of that, and then you have to give a definition of what you're asking for, why you're asking for it, that kind of stuff, so that all goes in there. The purpose of the funding, the program, so this one is a long one, there's not things to address, and then the budget justification, so this all goes to the tribe, this is the form that we use, So the first step in that is that we fill out this application and we give all of that stuff. This goes to the treasurer at the tribe. We then make sure that we have it in our third-party billing. And then, this is the last one we did. And then once Vanilla, the treasurer, says that we have it in our third-party billing, she then moves it forward as a resolution on the tribal council. So there's really 3 steps to it that we have to. And so then that's, we want to diminish our use on that, but that's the process we use. And it is to get a third-party bill. Yeah.
How are we tracking how much third-party dollars that we're bringing in?
It goes right into our general account, you'll see the deposits, and it'll, on our financial reports, you'll see the deposit, and well, first of all, you get this, you have to approve this, we have to have a board resolution to apply for that, so you see that.
No, I understand that, but like, how do we know how much we're able to request that?
Oh, Brunel gives us that, she
Okay.
tells us, and Kayla could give us an idea of how much, third-party billing we have. For example, last September, we had 400,000. And we thought we had 400,000, and then we were given 300,000, and then in January, I went to get an ask for 300,000, so we put January for it. So for now, and Kayla gave us what's there. Third-party billing is not just all at once. As services are provided, numbers are given, and then money is generated. They do the third-party billing for us. So as that money comes in, they keep us updated on how much money we have available. So out of all of the programs in the tribe that do third-party billing for, say, mental health services, then the tribe has the ability to bill at a much higher rate than we would do if we did it through our school or something like that. And then what the tribe does is that they take a little bit of the admin costs for their emergency, whatever, and then they tell us how much money we generated in each program, how much was generated. So we also have data comes in. Data comes in and she takes a look at what services are provided and how many students are eligible for third-party billing and provide that kind of stuff to the tribe. No, whoever gets mental health services, and because I am is here, anybody has, well, any students can meet with I am for mental health services, and then they can also go to classrooms, do trainings by that, and so whatever services I am provided.
It's still like, and the parents sign up on that?
I believe that if I'm correct, that IM can do individual counseling with the student one time before final authorization is required. But I believe it's part of our I can't swear to that. I believe it's, if not, maybe it should.
I don't think it is in the enrollment, it's not, no, because I think it's coming out after that.
Well, I just remember in the schools that before mental health professionals were able to meet with the student one time, and after that, it could unless it's changed.
Because I was just wondering about that because I know that it was mentioned previously that sometimes they have more than one provider on site, and one provider will do a group with the entire classroom, while another one does an individual. So that's why it's like they're all different, have different forms. That's how it's taken place within the school.
I want to say yes. But, let me double check. But I know, like, if they just went one time to a class, that would be okay, but if it ended up being individual, you would absolutely need to. And I'll have to look at what's in the student. Because I feel like the student, so I was thinking, So then all the things we did with corrective action, we got everybody squared away at the state level and stuff, and then we wanted to manage the dependency, and that's in our deficiency status. And the third part of that is that Endazhi Charter School will ensure timely payment of bills following the Minnesota State Statute 471.25 subdivision 2. And then I gave the definition that by law, organizations are supposed to have annual close within 35 days of receipt. We know in the past that hasn't happened, but part of what we're doing in here too is that we have that weekly financial team, not just the financial team, but the financial team meet weekly. We review what's in our cash flow, prioritize payments, and then we authorize those payments weekly so that we know that we're making payments. There is a couple of bills in there that we've made payments toward that have not paid the whole amount. I'm talking about it. And as long as we're making payments toward the RD, half of the payment order that we will make payments towards. So, and then there's another one too that's like that. The other one, board school board oversight, is another area we had to address, and what I wrote in here is that kind of a description that the school boards and colony boards see with this past July. Although all attended initial and required training, the board was dependent upon the head of school and business manager to provide reports. Reports until mid-year seemed to indicate the school was financially solid. A finance committee was appointed at the monthly meeting to review financial reports. After the audit report in December, board members also recognized that there was no internal controls as far as use of the debit card and check rate. And that we got that. To address the lack of school board oversight on financial matters, the business manager was asked to provide reports in an educational manner, with financial terms defined, timelines explained, and what to look for in reports, more of that. Educate us as a report. So I think we're getting more of that now. And what I say to Todd is talk to us like that. I mean, school finance is a beast. It's really a beast. And then the other thing is that the finance committee began attending weekly finance team meetings, which take a solid look at cash flow, revenues, expenditures. Specific training focused on high school finance will be scheduled for all school board members in addition to the regular school board meeting. There's a finance one coming up in June that we're hoping to get everybody signed up for, which is specifically charter school finance. So that's all we were addressing. School board.
Is that the one that we were doing on that? Because I wasn't sure if we were supposed to sign up ourselves.
I think if there's a few, we'll sign up and I'll get a good register for that.
I think, well, they emailed me and they told me I would get this thing, so I signed up and then they signed up that bill just to.
Okay, I didn't even go that
So
far.
go ahead on, everybody register yourself and do that. Okay. Management of grant funds. This was another area and a deficiency that we had to address because we knew that reporting in grant, there was a lack of reporting, there was false reporting, there was loss of grants, there's all of that stuff. So we need to have it. So to address the misuse of and the correct reporting procedures for Endazhi awarded grants, the internal personnel has been assigned to oversee all grants. Communication and context for each grant has been established. A separate bank account is currently being set up along with separate finance codes for the deposit of grant dollars and record keeping of all grant revenue expenditures. Grant oversight is a specific responsibility of the operations department. I did tweak this. Instead of saying operations department, I tweaked it on my computer that it says director of operations. And that is Jola. Part of her new job description says director of academics, operations, and something else. So I did get specifically to director of operations. And I didn't put a name in there because, if that person ever changes, this would stay on. And then the school board shall approve or deny all grant requests for grant applications, as well as approve or deny all awarded grants based on grant criteria. So if somebody wants to write a grant, they need to get permission from the board. If we're awarded a grant, we need to decide to accept it or not. Based on the criteria, are we able to do that? Is it a reimbursement? Is it, Okay. So requests for grant reimbursements are a three-step process. Internal tracking involves staff hours, purchases, completed work performance provided to the grantors by school operations. And again, I changed that to say director of operations. Okay. And it's then reviewed by school administration in coordination with the school finance team. Grantors then approve and submit to their financial entity for reimbursement to the school. One of the things that we had to address in here, and it says in the document demonstrating that school has implemented procedures for managing funds, including how receipts of funds is documented and how requirements are communicated, and all of that. So a process for tracking accounts receivable and third-party reimbursements, process for ensuring accurate timely reports to the So this has to do with how we are tracking funds, expense, revenues, and expenditures. So it's kind of that two-step process. Financial goals for 26-27, May 26th, Endazhi-Nitaawiging School Board. That's administrative team and business manager held a Saturday working session to set financial goals and identify areas of adjustments needed to stay within the forecasted budget. The forecasted budget was determined by projected student count, forecasted third-party billing, and anticipated in and continuing grant dollars for state and federal, for example, following dual title offers and the other grants that come in. And so we set our budget for the next year. And here's the action plans. The board is looking to offer K-6 grade level education only, removing grade 7 and 8. Grade 6 will be offered only with members district. Ending unnecessary contracts with organizations. Staff reduction to align with grade levels, licensure requirements, and building needs. For example, we need 10 grades. We need license or license that. And I was very general in it. I didn't want to put any names or any programs or anything like this. This is what will happen. There will be some options. Changing the administrative model to one executive director for a primary school position. Which is a common position. And we're going to add a separate bank account for grants. Those are the action items that I thought we addressed in the working session. So anything else that I didn't mention as far as doing the standard condition. These are the things that I didn't miss.
The federation with the water, that sort of thing,
Yeah, that's going to be addressed when Vanessa and I talk about what the program is going to be doing. But according to Vanessa, she's already done that. She's already done that separation. That we're totally on different electric bill and phone bill and that stuff. So she said it's been done. We'll wait. Other goals, we want to grow the reserve annually until a 30% reserve is going to be maintained. That's a more contract with hospitals for top line. Ensure continuity of bills, and we do that by meetings. Continue with weekly cash flow meetings, continue school board member development, which also continue with that. Anything else I didn't think of? How much you guys are I did send this over to Beth at Hospitals for her review, and she is one who made the recommendations that we put the position in that. She said, we don't really have offers this department, so who's got it? So I changed it to director, and those were the only recommendations. I said to her, I've never written a financial improvement plan before. I tried to base it specifically on the MOD, answer everything from there. And she said, I've never seen it written on either, so I think that it will go through for sure. I think we've done a pretty good job. I went through this again. I think I have everything that was in there. And this will attach a copy of this, and as an attachment, we will do our internal controls that we currently have. We'll do attachments and we'll do it for those who do. And that is our financial. We will submit to them if there's board approval on this. And then the other thing that has to happen for us to do create another account at the bank, they need to see that the board approved that we can use it. And so if we approve this, that will be the action items are approved, and that we can create that separate bank account. And then the other thing is then we will start, if we approve these action items on here, we will start doing our media blast out to the community on the reduction of costs. We want to start doing the media blast anyways for talking about the positives of the school, our summer club members, like recruiting, and those things like that. We have to start doing just a media blast of putting positive things. There's a lot of negative. So we need to change that in there.
Under the caption item, that says offer K through 6 grade level education only removing grade 7 through 8. Grade 6 will be offered only if members dictate. I feel like we should have like a date. Like if we don't have this, because we need to be able to prepare for that before the school year begins. So I don't know.
Yours is how much August 1st or August 15th, and your school year would start right after Memorial Day, like 2 weeks before. And so it next time to register in the school district.
And then do we have like an idea of how many students we would need to justify keeping grade 6? Just so that they're aware, like, in case of, they're signed up for 6th grade, internally we didn't get that number, and then we have to tell them, hey, we actually didn't get, and they're scrambling, trying to find it.
We know we're shooting for 15, like 15 per grade level. That's what we're basing our student count at 105, and we're building a budget on 100 students. We're going to work on that 105 million. That's what we're hoping for. I guess the question would be how many students, so you figure in that 6th grade, she needs in the 6th grade teacher. We figure it's about 10,000 a student. We figure a teacher is going to be our average wage say is about 68,000 for a teacher. So I think you would need over half of that 8. So teacher, benefits, curriculum, I would say we need at least 9 or 10 in there is my guess before we could justify teaching. So 6 students would probably 6.5 or 7 students would justify a teacher salary depending on where they come in, and then adding curriculum and benefits and liabilities and it's going to be another. I would say 10. I would say at least 10.
Is that like the minimum that we're getting in the other grade?
We had 2 8th graders, I think, and 5 7th graders, 4 5 7 graders. 2 8th graders.
So I just wanted to make sure that's in there so that everyone's on the same page of what that looks like before we. Because me personally, I would like to not move forward with 6th grade, but if we're offering it, just if numbers dictate, I do want like an end date and an idea of what that looks like so families are aware.
Would you say that August 1st or August 15th? We know parents are going to start in 9 months. You want to do like August 15th?
I put on. That's the other thing. That's why I want to have a plan in place. I was thinking about the families that didn't.
Or the other thing we could do is we could just take out that grade 6 only and just go K6, and then at some point if it looks like we don't have the numbers, we can just say, at that point we can just say, we don't have the numbers to justify. And then we would still have teacher applications. So we have K1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6th grade. We have right now, we have to show we have 5 teachers coming in. So teachers.
I've seen a couple online states that after July day. I don't know if I can.
The contracts start now, but what happens is we might have one summer program. And that would be but we do have a couple other people who are coming in and we're just going to have to do it. So how many students are in? Chelsea, do you know how many 5th graders we have right now going into 6th?
I can look right now.
Oh, these were at the front.
Oh!
Sorry. 13? Or no, that's
Let's see who's faster.
not a lot. 8.
Fifth graders,
Yeah.
you didn't say all from that. Like, so we know that.
We could just say 8 if we just plan on those ones that we took at the minimum moving forward.
Sure.
Then that at least gives them the opportunity.
Yeah.
So if we just say 8.
And then if we just have, it's by August 1st, for teacher, August 15th.
What did you say we had for sure? 5 teachers?
And then if
Did you say August 1st?
what do you think?
Did you say August 1st? Is that what the date I heard?
We're looking at August 1st or the 15th.
I just saw. Yeah.
I would say tentative. The 1st for sure, but 15 definitely.
Because we gotta be able to give the families ample time to enroll them in a different district or different school if it doesn't, if we are not able to move forward. But then we also want to give whichever teacher is assigned time to find something else and do the different.
Well, and then this teacher.
The 1st then for sure.
And then she's looking at me for effective and executive director for teacher.
When I was at the kindergarten graduation, though, I was told by 3 of the teachers that we had to use following something else. They're current. But I don't know, that might change.
Yeah, that might change. You know, I know last year we had, we did not have a second grade teacher until probably a week or so before school. And we were maybe going to put a substitute teacher in until teacher could be found to become a teacher. I would say, you guys decide.
I would say the 1st. It takes about 2 weeks to like switch bus info too.
Yeah.
Right?
It takes a little.
Okay. By August 1st?
So there will not be a 7th and 8th grade next year?
No.
Okay, because there was a lot of parents asking like the last day of school about that.
Yeah, so we'll have to make that, put that out there.
We'll just do a little bit, and then once you guys have put this.
Oh, 4th grade is the biggest class.
I tried to get Alex in a couple of weeks ago, and it was but that's never
Been consistent with
Motion, we'll grab it tomorrow, and then 13 days coming to kindergarten? The immersion that, are you talking Monster?
Yep.
Monster? Yeah, so, okay, let's do this and then we'll talk that. Okay.
Okay, so we're saying at least 8 by August 1st. Again, I just want to be transparent with any families and faculty, staff, everybody.
I know these are really kind of general, but I really didn't want to put anybody's name in there, but this is going to be, it's a very specific action. I'll get this off once I make the changes, I'll get it back to Oscar off right away, and hopefully we'll get a response right away, that if we need to make any changes, and you guys can put them, hopefully, this will work. What is the financial plan look like?
Okay. Does anyone have any further questions, comments? Okay. We have a motion to approve the financial plan as presented. Motion by Chelsea, second by McComas. Calling for a vote. Anne Marie Bushko. Yes. McComas, please. Keon Mendoza.
Yes.
Chelsea Green.
Yes.
Victoria Feinday is excused. Motion passes 4-0. Okay, and moving on to new business B, motion to approve the memorandum of understanding as presented. Do we have a motion? Motion by McComas. Okay. We have a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding as presented. Motion by McComas, second by Anne Marie. Any discussion?
So what we found was that there was, although the tribal IT department, the tribe owns this building, so they do all of our internet, they do all of our IT, everything. But there was never an agreement between the two. So we need clarity, our authorized students wanted us to have clarity, and an actual contractor MOU that these services would be provided. So we met with Deb Hyman over at the school and said specifically what do you offer, what can you offer, and then so we came up to Deb and the school came up with this list of things that they do and things that they can't. One of the things that we found was that different people had different access. They had like super admin access, which meant that they could, people who had super admin access shouldn't have super admin access and all of that. And then security kind of stuff as far as internet security, things like that was kind of not managed as it should have been kind of stuff. So we thought that we would go ahead and work with them and make sure our security and all of that and stuff is done. So that they would continue to do this. And I love, and it also went through them, and it also went through Joe and made changes to it. So you'll see on that. Do you guys have it?
Yeah.
And they already do our security. They're the ones that monitor that they can open the door and close the door. They have access to cameras and all that. We have people who have access to cameras who shouldn't have access to cameras. We have people who have access to our files. We were on after they should have access to our files. If that's in as of Friday, they no longer have access to the cameras, to the files. They're wondering, where did I get this information from? It was there. And so she also screenshotted the files that we still have access to, so we need those files. All of that's been taken away, and all of the super admin access has been taken away. Right now it lies with them. And then we had all staff training all of their files. Like if somebody left, somebody said, well, here, use this file and stuff. So we had everybody turn on their files, and then we went with the holders, but these no longer here, we shouldn't have access, all of that was clear. And then we're also having this week on the office coming in, they're reaching all of our external doors because we have people out there that are not turning on their master keys and all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to get some of that. All of that falls under tribal IT. They can have access to all that, so they're kind of taking over. They will help us with our school running. One of the things they said is that they are aware that we figured out on their charter.com. So they're going to be addressing that and we can talk about that. So we'll have to decide if we stay as a .com, if we start a personal one, or do you want to go with the .org K-12 or something like that. So they'll be taking a look at what works. I checked with authorized on this at some of those schools that started on .org.com, but two of their schools are .com, the majority are .org. So anyway, IT will be looking at that. We're updating all the security, updating all of the things, updating the security we use for internet. We have students have access to this, and they're playing this game in Michigan. So all of that's going to be addressed now. No, your fobs are accurate. You guys, Angel, where are their fobs?
I never sent it out.
But here's what happened. They don't work because
they only work for specific times. If we have an early meeting, we're supposed to let them know, would you open the doors at this time so your time's over?
That's probably why they
Yeah,
didn't
they're
work.
going, no, it's not working. They said, well, adjust your times for special meetings. I said, okay. So anytime we do something, we should let them know, should open up the doors and access, or set the time on your times. So they should work, and Angel has your card, Angel has your card.
I just want to FaceTime or can't pick it up.
You know, the other thing that we learned is that when our staff, they use their card to open the door, that's recorded at one time they come in. And so what we wanted them to do then is we wanted them to swipe the card when they leave it. Now they can still sign in on the computer, but if we can get, and Deb's gonna work on this, if we can get that card passed in and out, they won't have to sign in on the computer. It'll just meld together. You'll see right when they sign in, right when they leave. They should do that over at the track. That'll help a lot. Yeah, they do a lot for us over here. And the other thing is that a lot of the tech stuff is paid for by the town. They also can get us deals, like, we've been applying for student Chromebooks. That can get student Chromebooks for us working for the student. So we would get those kind of deals. It will be that will sign. Yeah, for now she's the go-to person. She's the only one who received the admin access to just a name this time. But we've had audit discussions, so if we don't have an IT person, she will assign somebody here, and she's offered they get 80% of that person. So that would be a good thing. Yeah.
They're asking people as well as you.
So she would assign someone specifically. They'll pay 80% of their salary and they'll pay 20%, and that will help us. Doesn't mean we still might not need an IT person inside or somebody who just, But the advisor said we don't have anything that we need for protection. So it is.
And that like they're 80 and we're 20, that's what you're
will
discussing
be-
in financial contribution?
It will be. But we did put it in, this was for services provided, a contract for services, and then if they decide to go with an IT person, if they want to, they have a separate contract.
To have somebody stationed here.
I'm not sure that they would be stationed here,
Assigned.
but they would be assigned specifically, just to.
That'd be really nice.
Pick up the phone. But they'd be on site too. Sometimes if they're on site.
Any further discussion on the memorandum of understanding?
It seems like everything's working out, right?
Well, I think, is this because we're not technically under the tribe? And so like,
We're not under the tribe, we're not that.
Oh, really?
Hey, yeah.
Every day?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, take it. Right?
Change the logo.
Yeah. Any other discussion on the memorandum of understanding? Okay. Motion to approve the memorandum of understanding as presented. Motion by Nicole, second by Anne Marie. Going for a vote. Anne Marie English Nicole.
Yes.
Nicole Page. Bianca Mendoza. Chelsea Jordan.
Yes.
Victoria Finde is excused. Motion carries 4-0 or passes. Okay, and going to 8, motion to adjourn the meeting at 4:54 p.m.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by Nakomis.
I'll
A motion to adjourn the meeting at 4:54 p.m. We have a motion by Nakomis and second by Anne Marie. Any discussion? Any discussion for adjournment? A motion to adjourn the meeting at 4:54 p.m. Motion by Nakomis and second by Anne Marie. We will go into a vote. Anne Marie English Nicole. Yes. Nakomis Dave. Yes. Bianca Mendoza. Yes. Chelsea Jordan.
Yes.
Victoria Finde is excused. Motion passes 4-0. Quick, everyone.
Thank you, Angel. You can stop recording. You can